WrestleMania, the granddaddy of them all, another retro show, ladies and gentlemen. I told you we were getting through all these 2003 shows. You didn't think we forgot, did you? You didn't think we forgot. You know, here we are.
We just got hit by a big old train called SummerSlam and Rampage and NXT TakeOver and all of these wrestling shows that just kind of smacked us in the face the past couple of weeks.
A big CM Punk return and all that shit. So, yeah.
But now we're starting to settle down a little. I know we have All Out coming up on Sunday, but in between that and it's going to start slowing down. So it's a good time to get these retros out.
Yeah. I'm so excited to talk All Out with you, Tomas, of course, and with all of you guys as well. We're going to be talking about, in my opinion, what is a top 3 WrestleMania of all time. I mean, second only to WrestleMania X7, and the only one behind it for me is Mania 31, which is the one we were at. Those are the top 3 for me. Mania 19 is certainly in the mix, though. A lot of people like Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret have called this the greatest WrestleMania of all time, and it's certainly in the argument there. But after watching...
I wouldn't say the greatest, but I always have a good time watching this one. This is a good one, because we're going to talk about, there's a lot of good stuff on here that, I don't think people realize, that was all on the same show.
It really was. It really was. So yeah, folks, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. It really, really helps get all this content out there. We're talking wrestling every single month. We'll be talking about All Out for sure from next weekend. Hit that thumbs up button as well if you enjoy all these debates that I'm sure, bound to get into. But WrestleMania 19 takes place actually in a city that's very near and dear to my heart, very near and dear to my family. Seattle, Washington, at Safeco Field, as it was known back then, the home of the Mariners. Tony Chimmel announced 54,097 fans packed to this arena, the stadium, whatever you want to call it.
You imagine, if that was today's attendance for WrestleMania, that would be considered a bad day for WWE. 54,000. I'm pretty sure that was the attendance for SummerSlam this year. Just to see how bigger.
I think the SummerSlam attendance number they gave us was bullshit, but this felt legitimate to me.
But you know what I mean? A $50,000 person show. That's SummerSlam for WWE now. Just imagine that. How far we've come, and now we're about to pack 100,000 people into AT&T Stadium again for this year's WrestleMania. Damn near doubling the attendance that was at, back in 2003.
I mean, as long as WrestleMania 38 is better than 32, I'm happy with them, doing the show again in Dallas. If they want to do a run through again, that's fine by me. But this is one of the top 3 WrestleManias of all time. And you know what? It opens up with WrestleMania debuting Rey Mysterio, who is cosplaying as Daredevil. Because keep in mind that Ben Affleck piece of shit came out in the year 2003. He was cosplaying as Daredevil.
I was going to ask that. When I saw Mysterio, I was like, oh, he cosplayed as Daredevil? I didn't know that piece of shit came out in 2003.
Yep. That was it starts a Mysterio tradition of cosplaying as comic book characters coming out.
The dark days before the Marvel Cinematic Universe, when we had to sit through shitty films.
And now
films like Daredevil,
and now everybody,
not counting Spider-Man.
And here we are. Everybody is now theorizing that Matt Murdock is going to be Tom Holland, Peter Parker's lawyer in No Way Home. But only time will tell. But Mysterio is challenging for the Cruiserweight title against the defending champion Matt Hardy version 1, who, did you know, Tomas, was making his 4th WrestleMania appearance on this card.
Not as much as I didn't know that, Matt often wonders how they did WrestleMania without him. And you know what? I often wonder that too. I wonder how they do WrestleMania now with Matt Hardy. It's a shame. It's a shame, really.
WrestleMania, dare I say, is broken without Matt Hardy. Something like that.
There you go. Hit the nail right on the head. And let me tell you, Rey Mysterio doesn't even get a chance to bask in the glory that this is his first WrestleMania, because this match starts off hot and heavy. They are immediately in there. This is some good Cruiserweight stuff. And, watching this match, it made me realize Matt Hardy really has done it all in wrestling. He's been the tag team guy. He did the singles run. Now in AEW, he's a manager. He did, he introduced the concept of cinematic wrestling to professional wrestling. And, even back in 2003, he was doing the Cruiserweight stuff.
He was.
Even when, he had to drop the weight to be in that class, barely. he was out there doing the cruiserweight stuff. And I think he was doing it pretty damn well.
Drinking all the banana juice, Cole. But at this point, Taz, did you notice Taz's innuendo commentary in this opener too? Like, I don't know.
I didn't actually. You know,
it was actually
match,
so. What happened was
unlike Hardy Kidman from No Way Out, I actually was a lot more invested in this match. So I wasn't really paying attention to the commentary.
Me too, man. But you might notice actually a little bit of an Easter egg. But Taz mentions that Matt Hardy and Shannon Moore are no longer on the banana juice, or BJs as he calls them, because Matt Hardy doesn't need to drop the weight. They're drinking tea with tea bags, Cole. With tea bags. So
God.
I'm like, can you just stop with the innuendos? But Rey Mysterio, I mean, to your point, like, he starts the match off hot and heavy with a corkscrew plancha to the outside. Like, so that really sets the tone for this match. This is the definition of a 5-minute sprint. These guys tried to fit as much in as they can in the time that they got, which was only 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll get to that. But
this was 100% a blink and you miss it match. And I mean that in a good way. Because these guys were balls to the wall, 40 moves a minute right away. Honestly, it kind of reminded me of Mysterio and Kurt Angle from SummerSlam. You know, not a moment to rest. No rest holds, no, you know, this was, you know, again, blink and you miss it.
I mean, no disrespect to Matt Hardy when I say this, but I don't think this match I would hold in that high of regard, but just because it was so short. But
I was just saying, it reminded me like that because I feel like Angle and Mysterio worked the same pace.
Oh, they did. They just, like, in this case, Rey Mysterio only got 5 minutes to work his magic, which, speaking of, Matt Hardy hit a super sick side effect on Rey at one point. And Shannon Moore, Matt Hardy's little MFer on the outside, was trying to interfere at every turn, cutting off the 619, and then Matt hits the twist of fate, which Rey actually kicked out of. A 5-minute match with a finisher being kicked out of, oddly enough. But then Rey hits the 619. You think he's going to win. He goes with a West Coast pop. Matt rolls him up, holding the ropes for leverage, and he retains the title. Again,
can I just say, to this day, I am very shocked that Rey Mysterio lost his WrestleMania debut.
Yeah.
You would think the setting, the environment, the moment was perfect for Matt Hardy just to be a transitional champion and pass the title to Rey Mysterio, which I'm pretty sure Mysterio and the Cruiserweight title are pretty synonymous in WCW enough as it is. You think that this would be the time to finally pull the trigger on that. But, you know, again, to this day, I am very shocked that Hardy, you know, he retained. They actually wanted to run with Hardy for a bit, getting the rub from Mysterio here in this match. And, you know, Mysterio is paying his dues.
He sure was. He sure was. I mean, I would give this match a higher rating if it went, like, if they doubled the time of this match. This easily breaks like the 3.5 star rating for me. But as it is, I'd say it's 2 3/4. It's fun enough as it is. It's very athletic. I thought there was too much Shannon Moore interference, which the ref actually did catch wind of. Somehow he didn't eject Shannon Moore from ringside. Also, again, like I said, this match could have benefited from being way longer than it actually was. It was only 5 minutes long.
Oh yeah.
But
I'll give it 3 stars. This is definitely one of the better WrestleMania openers despite the time. When I look back at openers in the future, you know, this one sticks out to me a lot. And I feel like this was the perfect match to open the show.
It really was. It was a nice little appetizer, a little palate cleanser for what the crowd was about to get, which does not include these goddamn Miller Lite catfight girls. I mean, who the fuck even cares? Like,
this was probably the biggest, I don't want to say black eye, but kind of like the only stinker on the show. This could have been a damn well near perfect WrestleMania, but I don't know. They felt the need to put this filler in there. And, you know, not even from a tasteless standpoint, these girls could not fucking act to save their lives.
That was
oh my God. They were there strictly for eye candy. Gosh, and you know, trust me, it annoyed the fuck out of me. Mr. McMahon, Hulk Hogan, Mr. McMahon, Hulk Hogan. Like, oh my God, you guys don't even know who Hulk Hogan and Mr. McMahon are.
Yeah, no, and she's pronouncing Hulk Hogan's name wrong. How do you even do that? Hulk Hogan.
God,
did you notice that?
I didn't. I was too busy being annoyed by their voices and the inability for them to act for 5 seconds.
Like, you could have cut out all this Miller Lite Catfight Girls crap for, I mean, namely more time for the Cruiserweight title match. And hey, here's an idea. How about instead of putting Rob Van Dam and Kane challenging for the World Tag Team titles on Sunday Night Heat, you can put them on the main show instead of these damn Catfight Girls.
Or that great John Cena segment that was regulated, which was forced into the pre-show.
Yep.
And, that's a fun thing. Let's talk about that real quick. So John Cena does not wrestle at this WrestleMania.
No.
The original plan was Cena was going to challenge Jay-Z to a rap battle. Apparently, this was in the works. WWE tried to reach out to Jay-Z. Jay-Z did not respond to WWE at all. So instead, John Cena came out on the pre-show and proceeded to verbally annihilate both Jay-Z and Fabulous. I don't know why he's targeting New York rappers when they're in Seattle. I think this could have been something better for a New York Mania, not next year because we know what Cena does at that Mania, but he brings out cardboard cutouts, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, he brings one out of Jay-Z, he brings one out of Fabulous, and then he brings one out of Mini-Me from Austin Powers for some reason.
So weird.
I don't remember exactly what Cena says in his rap, but I just remember this was just WWE's way of saying, Jay-Z, it could have been on this show and it could have been a cool moment, but
you chose not to.
You never got back to us. It was the Mania moment that never was.
And instead, the only celebrity involvement we get from this damn WrestleMania is from some girls that were in a beer commercial.
Which I obviously was way too young to get the reference.
Yeah.
Miller Lite. They'll see boobies and they'll like boobies. Anywho, moving on from that, unfortunately, this will not be the last time we talk about those damn girls.
No.
Did they talk about the pre-show next before this next match?
No, because that was the first Raw match where they mentioned the pre-show
for sure.
stuff.
So we're gonna have to go into some backstory about this next match because it's a doozy. So we got A-Train and the Big Show teaming up to face The Undertaker and newcomer Nathan Jones. Let's talk about Nathan Jones for a second. Mm-hmm. We did see some promos for Jones at No Way Out or Royal Rumble, I think it was.
Was that No Way Out? Was it No Way Out?
At No Way Out, billing this new superstar. He's from New Zealand or Australia.
I believe he was from Sydney, from that area.
Okay, he was from Australia. The backstory on this guy is he's a jiu-jitsu fighter. Apparently, he really has served time in an Australian prison. So they were really playing up that gimmick, saying this is one bad guy. He served time in prison, all this stuff. The presentation, honestly, was pretty good. And, they brought him on as a babyface, surprisingly. You think with that big, bad exterior, he would be monster heel for sure. He comes out as a babyface. Honestly, the pieces to the puzzle, they're all there. It's a damn shame this guy can't wrestle worth donkey dick.
Yeah. If this guy debuted 10 years earlier, he would be a perfect foil for the Big Boss Man. The guy, the corrections officer with the nightstick, he's serving hard times, that would be a perfect jailbird type gimmick.
So
no, he's a
Jones
babyface.
Can't wrestle. And here's the thing, in today's day and age, if there's someone who really, really, really can't wrestle, I feel like WWE would still do their best to try to cover up their weaknesses as best as possible. Not with Jones. Jones was so bad that WWE straight up said, nah, you're not going to be in this match. We're not going to take that risk.
What they did was they literally wrote in an angle for him once again on the pre-show where he is coaxed into the men's bathroom because little Guido Nunzio stole his wallet. And he's led into an absolute mugging from Big Show and the A-Train, and he's left laid out in the men's bathroom, and The Undertaker goes out and wrestles this match all by himself because,
So basically, WWE knew that Jones was so bad, and remember, this is during Taker's but this was during Taker's shtick, where he really, really enjoyed taking the young guys under his wing.
Yeah.
And we'll see that later on in this year, but...
Think Maven. Undertaker... The Hardys,
we'll talk about later with Orlando Jordan, even Taker giving him the rub.
Yeah.
But basically, this guy was so bad that WWE even wasn't going to let Taker attempt with this guy.
No, as trustworthy as The Undertaker was even back in the day, they were not going to risk putting Nathan Jones out there on WrestleMania.
Let me ask you this, because, I kind of have there's two sides of this coin. Number one, if this was the case, storyline wise, do you think they should have just booked Taker against A-Train and Big Show from the get-go? Not even included a tag team partner?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like they would have been better off just doing that instead of awkwardly writing in this, oh, you got a tag partner. Just kidding. No, you don't.
Like unless it's his kayfabe brother Kane, like, does Taker really need a partner to go up against these guys?
No.
He's the fucking Undertaker, you know? And that's exactly what he does. He comes out, he wrestles his match all by himself, and I should also note that he is played out to the ring to his classic theme song, Rollin', by WWE's favorite band in the whole world, Limp Bizkit.
And, you know, as much as I love, how much I love Taker's biker theme, you're going to pay. But I got to admit, this was a pretty badass entrance, and it screamed early 2000s. Did you see those backup dancers wearing the tank tops and the baggy jeans? And then you got the break dancer coming out with the oversized sweater. I just screamed 2003.
It screams 2003 MTV is what it does, you know?
Yeah.
It's wild how much, like, it almost comes off dated in a lot of ways. It makes me feel old in some ways.
It's 100% dated.
Like, geez. But yeah, then the big ass team makes their entrance at 850 pounds combined. Both of these guys, Show and Albert, both were off of WrestleMania 18's card. So Big Show is kind of looking for some redemption at this point.
Take this into consideration. If you were to address this match using the most, what do I want to say? As they are today, this technically would be Paul White and Matt Bloom versus The Undertaker.
God damn it.
And if you want to take it a step further, Taker's retired. They could be Bloom.
It would be Bloom and White versus Calloway. We're breaking kayfabe here. But
my God, our heroes are old. Our heroes are very old.
Mean Mark does hit a choke slam immediately on A-Train. He's beating up both of these guys like he doesn't need a partner early on.
Point number two. Do you think they should have just went with that as the finish? Just straight up Taker wins in like less than 30 seconds?
With the squash, that would be so cool.
You know, because thinking about it, if Taker wasn't going to have a partner in this match, then why have a match? You know what I mean?
Right.
The only bad thing that would come out of this is you make A-Train and Big Show look like total chumps, which I don't think that's what you want to do. But I just feel like if this match is already, you know, kind of standing on one leg as it is, why not just take it home early?
Well, I mean, because if you do that, then you miss the perfect opportunity for an actual train to drive by the stadium while A-Train is in the ring. Did you hear that in the background?
It was perfect.
It was perfect timing. Also for A-Train to hit the derailleur.
Cole wasn't that excited this time, but
I know.
He loves that finisher.
That's just going to be the joke every time. But also,
but you know, the other thing that makes me upset in this match is that considering how they were pushing Big Show in November, you know, and considering how they used Big Show later in his career, and I'm talking, this was the hottest. I feel like Big Show peaked here, and WWE didn't take advantage of it.
They really didn't.
This is when he was the biggest. This is when he was the baddest. This is when he was the most dangerous. And, you know, you look at 04, sure, he was the United States champion. You look at 05, he's babyface. He's 06, he's babyface. And 07, sure, he's ECW champion, but then, you know, he gets let go for being too fat.
Yeah.
And then in 08, he comes back, but he's back to jobbing.
And he's
09, not really doing anything. 2010, he's not doing anything. And then considering what they tried to, and when they finally start pushing Big Show in 2013 as a world champion, we're all tired of him. So I feel like they missed the boat with Big Show.
They did. And I mean, like, especially as we get further into the spring pay-per-views, he's going to have a really, really amazing feud for the WWE Championship. In my book, it's a big monster feud. But Big Show, there's a point where, so Undertaker, I should note, also locked on a Fujiwara armbar in this match. I have never seen him do that. Like, I mean, I saw him do this live, but I don't remember him ever locking in this move in this match. But in any regard, there is a Big Show chokeslam. Big Show sees something in the entrance. Wouldn't you know it? It's goddamn Nathan Jones. He was totally fine. He hits the Big Show with a big jiu-jitsu style kick.
Which you got to admit,
yeah,
it looked good. The kick looked good.
It did look good, but here's my big nitpick with the match. If Nathan Jones wasn't going to be in it, and he's kicking both of his supposedly opponents, and he's not in the match anymore, isn't that a DQ? Isn't that a DQ?
No, he's still technically a part of the match. He's still technically Taker's partner.
What? They announced that it was a handicap match. Taker won.
But if he's originally in the match, I don't see why he can't. They've done that plenty of times in wrestling.
This is really stretching the rules here. This is really stretching
and
the rules.
Also at the same time, I'm not defending it. So let me get that out there now. Do you really think it was so bad that they couldn't just have Jones in the match? You know what I mean? Just have him take the heat, big tag to Undertaker. He saves the kick to the end. And just let the man have the match. You know what I mean? Was he really that bad? Because, we know some very bad wrestlers. None have been so bad to the point where WWE straight up just pulls them from the show.
I would
Jones
rather
is bad. Don't get me wrong. He's bad.
Yeah, he
but
is.
Is he really that bad?
I would, not to sound like, I don't mean this to sound sexist or anything. I'm just saying this because it's true. I'd rather watch a Nathan Jones match than an Eva Marie match. I'm just saying.
Oh no, that's that's not sexist at all. That's just pure fact.
Yeah.
So that's my only thing. Jones was a failure from the start because he could not work.
No.
We'll get into that later. Unfortunately, this is not the last time we're going to see Nathan Jones. But
No.
I don't think he was so bad that it was absolutely necessary to pull him from the show, unless he was doing some fucky shit backstage. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
let's say, I don't know, went through his bag and found like a pound of coke. Like, I understand that, but I don't think he was so bad.
Unless he was like a crack addict, as the theme song of this show would indicate. But
dear God.
Sorry, that was a bad one. That was too soon. But he kicks Jason Bloom with his own bicycle kick, which I think has to be a DQ because he's not in the match, in fact. But A-Train does get tombstoned by The Undertaker for a 3 count. Undertaker is 11-0 at WrestleMania. Was there any doubt? God, this match is so difficult to rate. It was certainly physical.
I'll give it 2 1/4 just because Taker, A-Train, and Show, they did what they needed to do.
Yeah.
It was the blow off to the feud that's been going on for a couple months. Again, the Nathan Jones thing, they made it more complicated than it needed to be by putting him in the match and then taking him out and having him show up here. Again, at the end of the day, either Jones should have never been involved in the first place, or no, just let him be in the damn match. What's the worst he could do? Would he really tarnish Undertaker's legacy that bad by being in the match? Again, I'm not trying to come up as I'm defending the guy, but I don't know. It just seems a little silly to this day. I think it's a little silly.
It's an
even as
interesting
a kid watching it live, I was a little upset that why'd you make Taker's partner be Nathan Jones if he wasn't going to be in the match?
Make him be Kane or something like that if Taker really needs help. That at least makes sense given the context of Taker's character, and it plays perfectly
or,
into the whole
Taker could even say, I know he's on Raw, but I really need my brother's help. It's WrestleMania. He could reach out to him and be like, hey man, can you please show up to Mania and be my partner? I got these big gorillas here that won't leave me alone. And
have Kane pull double duty. Have Kane pull double duty.
And, it would have been a lot better than what he was doing at Mania anyway. He could have told RVD, hey, sorry man, I gotta go help my brother out. We can fight these fuckers on the next pay-per-view or something like that.
Do you want to briefly recap what Kane was up to on this night, March 30th, 2003, before we get to this next match?
Oh, how have the mighty have fallen? Kane and RVD were challenging for the world championship not some 6 months ago on pay-per-view, and here they are now being relegated to the pre-show.
Yep.
Talk about an awkward situation. We have, so like we talked about at No Way Out, William Regal did get injured in that match.
Mm-hmm.
So who takes his place as surrogate tag team champion? Why, it's Chief Shawn Morley. Who is Chief Shawn Morley?
Val Venus.
Val Venus. Val Venus has decided to reform once again. He drops the porn star gimmick. He drops the music. He is now Eric Bischoff's chief of state, I think. Yeah,
I think he's like his chief of staff, something like that.
He's Bischoff's number one goon. Yeah. And let me try and explain this storyline as best as possible. So for the past couple months, Chief Morley has been trying to recruit the Dudley Boys into the Bischoff administration. I don't know why. He's just been telling them, hey, you're better off with us, just join us, but the WWE boys are not having it. Kane and RVD challenging Chief Morley and Lance Storm for the World Tag Team titles.
So weird.
The Dudley boys come out for the assist, and they give a big 3D to Storm. And a finish that still baffles me to this day. They drape RVD over for the pin, and then Bubba hits an elbow drop on RVD to turn on them, and that's the finish. Not a Bubba bomb, not a Bubba cutter, not a 3D, not a steel chair shot, a fucking elbow drop.
Well, Bubba is like 300 pounds in his own right.
And I will say that elbow drop looked like it fucking hurt, but
it looks nasty.
An elbow drop?
Yeah, but Kane and RVD don't win the World Tag Team titles on the pre-show. They will, in fact, win them on the next night of Monday Night Raw, officially coronating them as the World Tag Team Champions. And this is a tandem that we'll certainly talk more and more about as we come out with more of these retros. It gets
so
really interesting.
The Dudleys are now part of the Bischoff administration because, hey, the Dudleys are my favorite tag team of all time. But when it comes to tag teams, they're just as guilty as flip-flopping from face to heel for absolutely no reason.
They had a very short heel run here in the spring of 2003.
Yeah,
but
very strange.
Yeah, but with that being said, we do have a triple threat match for the women's championship. Victoria is defending once again against Trish Stratus and a returning Jazz, who returned from a torn ACL that she had like 9 months prior to this. And she is better than ever. She is badder than ever. JR compared her to like a female Mike Tyson almost. And I'm like, that's a perfect comparison because Jazz is freaking awesome. Well, I'm sure we've talked about Jazz quite a bit already, but
number one, Trish Stratus's ring attire, iconic.
Great entrance for Trish too, with the confetti raining down.
But also screams 2003 because tell me what girl was not dressing up like Britney Spears in 2003.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And like she was blonde too.
Yeah, and I have a bone to pick with this match.
Do you
I
really?
have a huge bone to pick with this match.
Does it have to do with Victoria's theme song being absent again? Because that's my bone.
No,
I have.
That's okay. Fine, I have 2 bones to pick with this match.
Can he just not get Victoria's theme? WWE, please.
Trish Stratus, Jazz, Victoria, 3 fantastic wrestlers, fantastic female wrestlers. Considering the day and age, this match was widely ignored because how the women were being treated. With the proper, if you take this match, you take this whole package and you put it in the modern day, this match could have been as big as Becky, Sasha, Charlotte from Mania 32.
Exactly.
These are the 3 best wrestlers you have women's wise in the WWE right now. But this could have been a semi-main event in today's day and age.
Really could
but
have.
It's not because it's 2003.
Third match on the show.
WWE doesn't care about women. And Jerry Lawler's commentary is as fucking awful as it ever can be during this match.
Oh.
And this is a good match. I love this match, actually.
It really
I didn't realize how much I love this match. But considering the day and age and where these women are and fucking Jerry Lawler, it just puts a bad taste in my mouth. The match, great. The women, great.
Yeah.
Everything surrounding it, awful.
And another thing is, like, all 3 of these women have such distinct characters going into this match. Trish is the resistant underdog babyface coming in. Jazz is the rough and tough heel who just beats the living shit out of people. And Victoria is completely unhinged. She is completely crazy. And, like, she had, like, a few twitches in there that I was like, there's something up with her. But that's actually her playing the character. It's
and
brilliant.
Such an underappreciated character because when I was watching it, I was like, damn, this was peak Victoria and not the happy-go-lucky poppy babyface she ended up being in 2006? You know, no. Psycho Victoria is the only Victoria for me, honestly.
It really is. It really is. But these women got, I want to say they got like at least 10 minutes to tell a good story. And they did.
All things considered, damn good match.
Yeah, so there was a point where Victoria was holding Trish up and her and Jazz were double teaming. Trish moves out of the way and Jazz actually hits Victoria with a black mass which is like, yeah, she hit that big kick that Malachi hits on AEW TV, which I did not remember her ever hitting that move like once. But again, there it is, pulling out all the stops at Mania. Trish throws out a couple of chick kicks, and then Jazz has a nasty submission hold, single leg crab right into an STF. But then the piece of shit on the outside, Stevie Richards, throws Jazz out of the ring. And I'm like, man, this was a different time, because Stevie Richards had accompanied Victoria to ringside. And under triple threat rules, like if Trish had tapped a Jazz there, Victoria would have lost the title. And, you know, Victoria wouldn't have been involved in the decision. But Stevie, I mean, in the context, it makes sense why he would throw Jazz out of the ring. But then Stevie brings in a steel chair, which is brutal in a women's match at the time. He goes to hit Trish with a chair, and then it bounces off the ropes and hits himself in the face.
Love it.
It was
absolutely love it.
Fantastic sell. And he even takes a stratisfaction from Trish. Victoria goes for the Widow's Peak. It's reversed into a chick kick, and Trish pins Victoria clean in the middle. Brand new women's champion there. And it feels like the millionth time Trish won the title. But...
man, when I saw that finish, by the way, great match. I'm actually going to give it 3.5 because I just really appreciated what these women were doing in this day and age.
Yeah.
But watching that finish, you know, whether you like it or not, Trish Stratus was our Charlotte Flair. She was
really
winning that title all the time. The only difference is Trish Stratus always was and always will be genuinely over with the crowd. You didn't hear anybody back then complaining about that. Oh my God, they're shoving Trish Stratus down our throat. Why is she women's champion again? Nobody was saying that because we genuinely, I'm not saying Charlotte Flair is bad. Just unfortunately, with the toxic nature of the internet wrestling crowd, that's how it's ended up being. Back in 2003, when the internet was barely a thing, we didn't give a shit about that. We wanted to see Trish Stratus win the women's title for the 100th time.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. I was totally happy with this finish. Trish was a very popular person in my household growing up watching wrestling. I gave this a 3.25 star rating. It's a very good women's match. This is as good as it gets with the Ruthless Aggression era, unfortunately, in terms of women's wrestling. These three all really brought something to the table here. And I think it was, I think they got the proper time to put together a killer match. I think if it was put in the semi-main spot, this could have been an even bigger deal than it was. But I mean, as it were, this is still a very good match. But oh man, I got a lot to cover here. Jonathan Coachman interviews Hollywood Rock backstage before this next contest. Oh boy. The Rock, should I just go over everything the Rock's been through at this point? Like,
yeah, because also before you say that, notice how this is an exact parallel to his promo last year. Exact 180, being interviewed by Coach and everything. Imagine what Rock was going into Mania 18, and look how it is now. Totally flipped on its head.
He basically, the night after No Way Out, he did Vince McMahon a solid, whooping the red and yellow candy ass. And then he goes over to Raw, because that Fallout Raw out of No Way Out was in Toronto, the place where it all started. And he proceeds to run down this Toronto crowd. And he basically says, like, I mean, I don't want to go over everything he says in this promo. It is somewhere on YouTube.
He said Toronto. That's where we
so
live.
Funny.
Yay.
The cheap pop. Yeah, no, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go search up The Rock's Toronto promo on YouTube. It's somewhere. But The Rock basically says he's entering this battle royal to become the #1 contender for the world title. He's the last one eliminated by Booker T due to interference from his opponent later tonight, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I mean, this whole road to WrestleMania for The Rock was so damn entertaining. He enters a mini feud. You want to talk about elevating younger talent? He enters a mini feud with the Hurricane. You ain't nothing.
And
you know?
The great thing about this is that the promos were so funny.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to jump the gun, but wait till we get to the Rock concert. They are so damn fun. Again,
fuck it. I'm going to talk about the Rock concert right now. Fuck it. I'll talk.
No. Let's save it for Backlash. Let's save it for Backlash, because that's where it really picks up. Let's save it for Backlash. Yeah.
I mean,
I want to talk about the backstage interaction he had with Hurricane on that one episode of Raw, where Hurricane appears and goes, "Oh, I know you." cape, mask. You're the Hamburglar.
Yeah.
Now go get the Rock a hamburger with ketchup.
And then Hurricane was like, "Oh, I do know one superhero that I could totally beat." The Scorpion
The
King.
Scorpion King.
And The Rock was.
And the Rock is so.
Was,
no, you can't.
He was so insulted by that. Like, I wonder if the movie critics ever went up to The Rock and actually told him how bad his movie was in character. Like, and he would have been so baffled. But I mean, because let's face it, The Scorpion King is a bad movie, ladies and gentlemen. But that's like a movie I pop in if I need like a cheer me up, if I need a good laugh. I just pop in The Scorpion King. It's funny. It's funny. I like it.
You know, The Scorpion King's a bad movie, but it's The Rock's first movie, so we have to hold it to some sort of.
Well, it's his first movie in the starring vehicle, that is. But I mean, like he did. He did have a Rock concert on the Go Home Raw. He did.
Oh, he did.
He did. That was the Raw in Sacramento.
I was thinking the one he had against you know who, and we're not going to talk about you know who.
Not yet.
Until that pay-per-view.
We're
not going to talk about you know who.
Not yet, but no, that's the infamous Rock concert that was in Sacramento, Tomas. I'm surprised.
Oh, that's the one. You know what? I'm still mad to this day. No, I was not at that Raw. So mad. I was not at that Raw.
Oh, it was so damn entertaining. He was like, he goes to sing his first song and he's like, "I'm so happy to be in Sacramento. And the most exciting thing is, in about 2 hours, it's my favorite part. It's when The Rock is going to leave Sacramento." You know?
God.
It was, what a
I'm sure that
douche.
Sacramento crowd gave him the business that night.
Oh, yeah. They sure did. He was playing his guitar, which I believe was signed by Eric Clapton, if I remember right. I don't think so. No,
Yep.
I could be wrong, but I could be wrong on the name. But someone, it was an autographed guitar, but he is running down Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's singing "You Ain't Nothing But a Redneck," and you know it all plays into this promo, and it plays into the match we're going to talk about later. Basically, just wants to fulfill his destiny because the only thing he's never done is beat Stone Cold at WrestleMania. And he has a great line which ties it all back to his character. And as a movie buff today, I really appreciated it because he was like, "Everybody remembers Act 3, the grand finale." And I'm like, I mean, like, he's a prick when he delivers this because there's a lot of first acts that are really moving for me, but he's right. Everybody does remember Act 3. If you go in to watch like Avengers Endgame as a casual viewer, you don't remember like all the buildup to that big fight on that abandoned planet with Thanos. You just remember the big epic showdown at the end.
Absolutely.
So,
yep.
It was awesome promo. But that all plays into a match later on tonight. But matches just keep on coming, dude.
Oh my gosh. Now this match, this is probably the head scratcher of the night for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team titles. Just saying that because the WWE Tag Team titles were SmackDown exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
We have the world's greatest tag team, Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, defending against Los Guerreros, Chavo and Eddie, who have turned babyface against the team of Chris Benoit. Wow, I totally butchered that name. Probably just Chris Benoit and Rhyno. Where's Rhyno been?
Such a random tag team.
He broke his neck last year.
Yep.
Benoit also broke his neck. So let's pair them up.
Yeah, you know,
that's what the commentators are saying.
No,
they teamed up because they both have broken necks.
I mean, no disrespect to Rhyno when I say this. He looks fantastic in this return, but like, I can't help but look at Rhyno in this position and think that this was supposed to be Edge. I can't help but think that this was supposed to be Edge. But
fair enough. I didn't even think about that, honestly.
Edge, ironically enough, broke his neck, and he had to go and get surgery. He was on the shelf for a whole year. He missed Mania 19, so Benoit needed a partner for this, and Rhyno was raring to go. So they were like, you know what? We're just going to put Rhyno on SmackDown. Here he is in the tag team title match.
And, you know, it's a shame because considering, I want to say the past 6 months that Benoit had, this is the definition of, Benoit, you've been working your ass off, but I'm sorry, we got nothing for you, but we don't want to leave you off the card. So they kind of shoehorn him into this match.
because Michael Cole did mention as Chris Benoit was making his entrance that he was sitting in the skybox with Chris Benoit during WrestleMania 18, who was in a neck brace at the time, and he was tearing up as the pyro for Mania 18 went off because he knew he wasn't on the card. So, I mean, for how hard Benoit worked, I mean, I don't really think he cared, like, where his positioning was. I think he just cared that he was on WrestleMania this year. But it is certainly pandemonium early. There are 4 Germans to Chavo. I mean, dude, I don't even know what you're talking about calling this match underwhelming. I really enjoyed this. This was some
That is
really
underwhelming,
good.
just head scratching, just considering Benoit and Rhyno. And, you know, I feel like they just needed another match on the show. Not a bad match, but
It was very good, I thought.
yeah, it's forgettable. It's not Mysterio, Edge, Los Guerreros, Benoit angle. So
Honestly, yeah. Well, I mean, of course, it's not going to be like any of the WWE Tag Team title matches you got throughout the fall, as we talked about. It wasn't going to be on that level. But I actually thought this was an awesome match. I think this is honestly kind of a hidden gem amongst the SmackDown Tag Team division at the time. Again, this is another match that would have been better with more time. Because I think these guys, I think these 6 only got like, what, 10 minutes to work in this? Like 10, something like that. But I mean, this was just like, I mean, Benoit and Guerrero were just suplexing the shit out of each other. There were 3 amigos all over the place, German suplexes. Chavo got 4 Germans in a row. I think I mentioned that already. But then it gets to a point where pandemonium breaks out. Shelton Benjamin and Chavo Guerrero are the legal men. Rhyno's going on a tear at this point. Rhyno, there's a reason why they call him the man beast, because he's a big square dude and he will mow you down with his finisher move. And the gores he was hitting in this match, the crowd was chanting gore. This is an over finisher. Like, honestly, that might be one of the most underrated spears in wrestling history.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Gore.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
the gore.
Rhyno would absolutely. He still does. Rhyno absolutely tears through people with that gore.
Tears him in half. You know, he was tearing Charlie Haas in half with the gore. Sick. Hits a gore on Chavo Guerrero. He's laid out the rest of the match. But then it gets to a point where Eddie pulls Rhyno out of the ring. And then Shelton Benjamin, scrappy youngster, picks up the scraps, pins Chavo Guerrero off of the gore, and Team Angle retains the WWE Tag Team titles. Right? You're gonna think I'm crazy for this rating, dude. 3 3/4. 3 3/4. I really dug this.
Fair enough.
Really
I just
dug
feel
this.
like in the middle of the card, and considering everything else that was going on, I just feel like, who really remembers this match?
I do.
Fair enough. Just, you know,
I do.
It's not a Mania match I instantly remember. But, you know, again, great work by all 6 guys. You know, they took this very strange match and they made it work.
They sure did make it work. Speaking of matches that were just made to work, these 2 guys next up. Oh, this is a match you remember fondly.
Absolutely, I do.
Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho. Dream match. Shawn Michaels' first WrestleMania in 5 years since main eventing 14 against Stone Cold Steve Austin, when he had to go into retirement because of a back injury he had gotten a couple months prior. God, what an entrance by Shawn Michaels. What an entrance.
Now, I need to say this. With the exception of one other match on this card, this match, everything fell into place absolutely perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
The setting, the build, who was in the match, how they built the match, the promos, all the interaction building up to this match was perfect. There was no better place for Jericho to be. There was no better place for Michaels to be. They did not, you know, they didn't just throw this match on a Monday Night Raw like a couple weeks before Mania. They didn't have a match and then have 3 rematches and be like, this is the blow off of Mania.
They were patient.
Jericho.
They were patient.
They didn't have these guys fight once. And this feud started in January.
Nope.
And, you know, there was the whole Royal Rumble stuff. And then watching the build, the video package, I forgot that there was more to this feud. There was an episode of Raw where Jericho just started torturing Test and Stacy Keibler.
Yep.
And he put poor Stacy Keibler in the walls of Jericho while Test is handcuffed to the ropes. And Michaels comes for the save and says, you know what, Jericho, despite all the shit you did to me the past month, you were going to beat the hell out of a woman for no reason? Like, no, this shit needs to stop. Yeah. So there was layers to this feud. And that just, made it all the better. There really were.
And it was all about basically anything you can do. In Jericho's mind, anything Shawn Michaels can do, Chris Jericho can do better. You know what I mean? And he grew up idolizing Shawn Michaels in theory. I'm not sure if that's actually out of character, out of breaking kayfabe that Jericho actually idolized Shawn Michaels, but that's what they were selling with this match, and I believed every minute of it. And Jericho, I gotta say, Jericho's attire in this match was so clean. I love this classic Jericho look. A great color for him. Perfect fit.
And Jericho with the best line in the entire buildup. When he was saying, I built my career about being just like you, but then I realized I'm going to stop trying to be the next Shawn Michaels, and I'm going to be the first Chris Jericho. That was an amazing line, and the perfect way to describe this entire feud.
It really is. It really is. But like I said, also Shawn Michaels gets a spectacular entrance with t-shirt cannons, and a few of them don't go off. I was laughing at Shawn Michaels selling the ones that didn't work.
I love how Michaels was such a good sport about it, and he kept going with it. One doesn't go off, one confetti, confetti cannon doesn't go off. And then he goes to the next one, and it doesn't. And he's like, "Oh my gosh!" And then he goes to one more, and he goes, "Please, please, please, please go!" And then it goes off. He was
crossing his fingers. Yeah, he was just having fun with this crowd. And then he does his signature pose, and he gets the big pyro by the Safeco Field logo up in the actual facility. Beautiful visual. Beautiful visual. That's all I can really say. Mr. WrestleMania personified. But then you get to the actual wrestling. And this, my friends, you think about, Savage and Steamboat at Mania 3. You think about Angle Benoit at 17. The type of wrestling you see in this match is what WrestleMania is all about. That's really what it is. I mean, the storytelling, the moves they were pulling off, Jericho hitting the walls on Shawn Michaels on the outside of the ring, which is only broken up by the referee's count out. Which is a brilliant use of the count out there. Jericho is forced to break the hold once the referee reaches 8. I believe the ref was Charles Robinson for this contest here. But once Charles Robinson reaches 8, Jericho has to roll back into the ring, break the count out, go right back out to beating the shit out of Michaels some more. Perfect. Loved it. Jericho was mocking HBK, kipping up, and then Michaels kips up right behind him. Oh, I love this match.
The one-upsmanship in this match is what really made it, as good as it was.
Yeah, it really was. And one of my favorite tropes from the Ruthless Aggression era, Jericho does his victory dance and he hits Shawn Michaels with the sweet chin music.
Oh yes.
Awesome. It was so awesome. And Michaels kicked out of his own finisher.
And I know which match you're going to like even more because of that. Because of that trope. There's a match later on tonight that I'm sure you loved.
Oh yeah. No, actually I liked this match better than the one you're talking about.
Oh yeah, this one's iconic.
For sure. Michaels, I thought he was going for the walls of Jericho, but then he ruins my fun by hitting a slingshot into the turnbuckles. Then Michaels gets locked in the walls again. I noticed the crowd at this point was really, really begging for Michaels to tap out here. They really wanted Jericho to go over. Did you notice that, or was it just me?
Kind of, yeah. And, this could have been one of those Jericho's fighting so well and he's fighting so hard in this match that they kind of want to see Jericho, just get the big win.
They wanted to see Jericho pull it off, but Shawn Michaels eventually does reach the ropes after being in the walls for a while. Jericho was in tears at this point, legitimate tears. He was going up to the referee going, he tapped out! He tapped out. What are you talking about? The sell was amazing, and then he walks right into the sickest sweet chin music I've ever seen in my life. It was so loud.
That should have been the finish.
The sweet chin music? You think so?
I'm gonna tell you right now, not a big fan of the finish.
Really?
That's my only nitpick with this match, and it's always bugged me throughout all these years.
Really? Jericho kicked out of the Sweet Chin Music, though. He looked great in defeat.
I know. I'm going to jump the gun a little.
Go ahead.
Like
How does the match end?
How does the match end? I don't like roll-up victories.
Michaels out-wrestled him.
Sucks.
Michaels out-wrestled him.
It sucks that my favorite match of all time ends in a jackknife pin. And it sucks even more that this match ended with a small package.
Yeah, it was, honestly,
it's a nitpick, I know.
I think, you know what, man? So the unsanctioned match, I can agree with you on that for one. Michaels should have beaten Triple H more decisively there, in my eyes. But here, I mean, I didn't mind it as much because it just meant that Michaels was being the crafty veteran out wrestling the youngster, the up-and-comer at this point, Jericho, even though he'd been in the business for a while at this point. But it was... I didn't mind it, dude. I didn't mind it because without this finish going the way it does, you do not get the super entertaining aftermath for this match either, because you would just get Jericho selling the Sweet Chin Music.
Kind of makes Shawn Michaels look like a chump. What happens after the match?
It makes Jericho look great, though. Michaels, because the thing is, Michaels really did not need to go over in this match, but he still had to get Jericho the rub somehow. So this is how he does it. Basically, Michaels goes for the handshake. Jericho is in tears of joy at this point. He says, "I'm not shaking your hand." He pulls Michaels in for a hug. JR is just flabbergasted that Jericho is showing this much class. But no, Jericho switches, and then he hits Michaels right in the fucking dick, and Michaels goes down, and Jericho is like, get out of my face. It was amazing. It was so amazing.
You know what the best part about this match is, and everything I said leading up to it? This is it. We do not get a rematch.
Well, you don't get a rematch until 2008 and that classic feud.
Well, yeah, but no. In this feud, this is it. We do not get a rematch. We do not get any sort of stipulation. We do not get any gimmicks.
Yeah.
This was the amazing wrestling match you got. Shawn Michaels won. Jericho got the low blow afterward. Yeah, the feud sort of continued into the next pay-per-view, but not really. But this was it. This is all we got.
Which we'll get to. We'll certainly get to. But as a match by itself, this is a WrestleMania classic if I ever saw one. I mean, 4.5 stars. JR said it best. What a wrestling match. What a wrestling match. You don't hear that term often enough in 2021 WWE right now. You don't hear that word often enough. But it really was brilliant. So both of these guys have every right to be proud of this thing. It was good.
This is what WrestleMania is all about. You know, this match went down in history for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sure was.
Unfortunately, before we get back to the good stuff, we got some shit to go over.
Great.
Am I talking about that segment or am I talking about that match?
Oh, God.
What happened first? I honestly can't remember.
It was, shit, dude. So, first things first, you get that crooked referee Sylvain Grenier entering the office of Vince McMahon. Evil schemes. And then this is basically like your intermission segment. If you're going to like a Broadway play, if Michaels and Jericho was your Act 1 finale, this would be your intermission. This would be your chance to go to the bathroom, get your concessions, what have you. Limp Bizkit goes out and performs the banger of a theme song.
God. I thought I was talking about that segment next.
Oh, well, I mean,
is that after the next match?
After. Well, no, you're talking about the Catfight Girls, right? Yeah. So the Catfight Girls come out after Limp Bizkit performs. So it was in this.
So basically, we skipped a segment. Oh my God, I can't believe we skipped a segment because I so wanted to talk about this. They're interacting with Stacy Keibler and Tori Wilson, who, let me get this out of the way right now. Their contributions to the business are absolutely amazing. I love Tori Wilson. I've talked about her Hall of Fame speech enough. Stacy Keibler was an amazing manager in WCW. I thought she was a pretty good manager in WWE. I love her as the Duchess of Dudleyville. I love her. I don't love this segment. They're arguing again over Stone Cold and The Rock.
Can I just say that Stacy needs to go into the Hall of Fame too, on that note?
Absolutely,
just because
she
of her
does.
Contributions.
Absolutely, she does.
Please put Stacy in the Hall of Fame. She's next.
These damn Miller Lite girls are fighting again, and they say, "Oh, we should settle this in the ring. No, we should settle this in bed." And it's so dumb, and I fucking hate it.
Oh.
And then they go out there, and they're gonna have a pillow fight, and then Stacy Keibler comes out, makes it a triple threat, and then Tori Wilson comes out there, makes it a fatal four-way. They barely tap each other with pillows.
And Stacy and Tori are actually trying to work a real match, like in amongst this madness.
If you want to call that a match,
they're actually trying to roll each other up with a cradle. You know,
and then they pulled Jonathan Coachman's pants down for some reason.
Poor Coach.
Jerry Lawler's having a heart attack.
Poor Coach.
Before he actually had a heart attack.
Oh,
and then they
that's
face
too
it
soon.
all our time. If this was a match, I give it -5 stars.
No, if this is a match, I give it -infinite stars. -infinite stars. Well, because, and another thing is because they took rightful WrestleMania time away from Kane and Rob Van Dam, who for sure deserve to be on the main card.
And John Cena.
Yeah. So,
nothing against Stacy Keibler and Tori Wilson.
No.
I'm glad they got a moment, but I'm sure they could have. I don't fucking know, man.
They could have done this on Heat. They could have done this on Heat.
They could have.
You know,
they could have. They could have. Yes, they could have.
It was such a waste of time. Such a waste of time.
Anywho, and I'm good. I'm glad I'm all riled up now because I'm going to get even more riled up because next up for the World Heavyweight Championship, we got Triple H defending the title against Booker T. Oh my God, where do we start?
Well,
number one, the build to this match, it's fucking terrible.
Fucking atrocious, dude. Well, first thing I will say to add on to this is that the Battle Royal that I alluded to earlier on that The Rock had entered, he was the runner-up to Booker T, who won that Battle Royal to get this title match at WrestleMania.
Which, good for him.
Yeah.
It looks like Booker T's hard work that I've done nothing but praise him in 2002 for is finally going to pay off. Triple H versus Booker for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
Let's address the elephant in the room. In the build-up to this pay-per-view, I get what they were trying to do. Triple H is this, you know, how do I describe it? Elegant. He's, you know, riding the limousines with Evolution. He's wearing the expensive suit and tie. He's trying to be Ric Flair at this point, and he looks down on Booker T because of Booker T's past. Booker T is known for serving time in prison. He's known for, you know, being brought up in a very ghetto environment. And I get what they were trying to do. It's basically the high-class blue blood versus, you know, Booker T, who Triple H feels has not reached that level because of his background and stuff.
This was
but they do it in such a poor and tasteless way that it comes off racist.
Triple H
off very racist.
Triple H was like, yeah, he was coming off like a big, like, you know, rightist racist, basically. Yeah. Like, extremely right-leaning, almost, rather. He's saying,
you know, what was he saying? He was saying that Booker T, making fun of Booker T's nappy hair, making fun of Booker T's hair. Yeah, and in the line of the feud, people like Booker T don't deserve to be World Heavyweight Champion. I get what he was trying to say.
Not
get
good.
What he was, you know, exactly. Like, he's rich, Booker T's not. He looks down on Booker T because Triple H is his main event star. You know what? I'm going to pull one out of left field. It's kind of like what they were doing with Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston, saying that Daniel Bryan is his main event player and Kofi Kingston is stuck in the mid card and he'll never be taken seriously because he's in the New Day. That's how you do a storyline like that. But when Triple H is going out of his way to make fun of Booker T's hairstyle and say people like you do not deserve to be the World Heavyweight Champion, it comes off extremely racist.
Extremely racist, yeah. Thankfully, leave it up to Daniel Bryan to fix a storyline like this, you know, and it was so inspiring. Kofi Kingston actually won the WWE Championship. That's the big key difference here. But this is a rags to riches story that is tailor-made for Booker T to regain the big gold belt that he was holding in WCW's dying days while it was on its deathbed. Booker T has the chance to be a top guy in WWE at this point. And what do you do with him? What do you do with him at this point?
Everything that oh God, okay, everything I just complained about, I would have forgiven if Booker T won the title in this match.
But he did not. He was
No.
fed. We're the Triple H.
And let me ask you something else. No, I'm not even going to ask you. I'm going to say, at this point, there was zero reason for Triple H to hang on to this title. He had been champion since December. Considering what he does after WrestleMania, there was no fucking reason why Booker T should not have won the World Heavyweight title on this night.
Would have been great.
It was made from Booker.
Yep.
Booker could have won this title. And then, 16 years later, Kofi Kingston could have said, I did what Booker T did in 2003. Yep. But no, we didn't. We have this. And to make things even worse, this match is boring.
It really is. Sadly, I was going to say that this was probably going to be on its way to being Triple H's best match within the Reign of Terror, but it was just so damn slow. Like, at least he was not... This was not nearly on the level of his match against Darby D at Unforgiven. I think this match is certainly better than his one against Kane at No Mercy, but, like... This is like Ric Flair was interfering all over the place, which I didn't even mention. Ric Flair was at ringside for this, and JR is chastising Ric Flair's interference to the point where he gets so mad at Jerry the King Lawler, where he's like, Flair has no business up there, damn it!
Yeah, the commentary actually was so insufferable during this match.
It really was.
Even to the point where Jerry Lawler keeps bringing up the jail thing, and JR says, would you stop bringing up the fact that Booker T was in prison? You have literally driven that point into the ground. Like, JR was pissed during this match. He really
was. He was not having any of King's bullshit at this point in the show.
Yeah.
But there was a happy point in JR's commentary where Triple H, he locks in Hunter, whatever you want to call him. I almost called him Hunter Hearst Helmsley, but Triple H locks in an Indian Deathlock, and JR is the giddiest little wrestling fan watching this. He's like, my God, I haven't seen that move in like, what, a decade? Like,
yeah, he was going
so happy
on
seeing that
and on about that submission hold. It was hilarious. And Lawler tried to break it up a little, saying like, well, I mean, Ric Flair has been training Triple H, and, I'm sure Flair taught him that move. Like, can you imagine that Triple H is using this maneuver? I have never seen Triple H use this maneuver. Is this match really that bad that you have to harp on a submission hold?
And like, at least
5 minutes?
Like, one thing I can give this match credit for is Booker T's incredible selling of that knee injury. Triple H had a huge bullseye on that right knee, I believe Booker T had hurt, and Booker's selling was immaculate throughout this entire match. But then it gets to a point where Booker T goes up to the top rope. He's knocked Ric Flair off the apron at this point, and then he goes and hits a Houston hangover. A
move that Booker T rarely pulls out of his bag, and there's a reason for that, and this would be the last time Booker T pulls off a move like that. Number one, he goes for the move, he hits it. Not only does he fuck up his own tailbone, he damn near knocks Triple H out because he lands directly onto his head.
Yeah. Yep. It was
a nasty and scary spot to look at.
It really was. I mean, it gets to a point where Flair puts Hunter's foot on the bottom rope. Because I think Hunter was in La La Land around that point. Like, he didn't know where he was.
Also, it did not help the matters. The fans were not into this match.
No,
if Booker crowd would have won the title with the Houston Hangover, I don't think the crowd even would have popped. The match was bad.
You could have heard a pin drop, honestly. And to make matters even worse, you want to talk about finishes I hated on this show? Triple H hits Booker T with the pedigree, and then at this point in the show, like, you could just get up and go get yourself a few slices of pizza, and Triple H hits the pedigree, and then it takes him, I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not shitting you, 30 fucking seconds for him to go over and pin Booker T after the almighty pedigree to retain the World Heavyweight title.
Watch every single WrestleMania 19 review, and that is everyone's favorite game. Time how long it takes for Triple H to pin Booker T. I think Brian Zane had it clocked in at like 29 seconds.
Yeah, I'm rounding up. I'm rounding up. This is 30 legit
I got to go back and
seconds.
rewatch his review to find out because he times it. He times exactly how long it takes for Triple H to cover Booker.
This was, I mean, it's absolutely ludicrous.
1 star.
I'm going to give it a 2, honestly, just for the sheer.
No, I was going to give it a 1.5 stars, but after seeing it and seeing how angry it made me, and the match was just so bad. Like, I can't really give this much credit. The only saving grace is Booker T.
Yeah, but like those 2 stars are all on Booker T's shoulders because he put so much damn effort into this match. I think I would have gone at least 2.5 if Booker had won the title, but the ending completely deflated this match. Like, as if it wasn't deflated already.
And considering who main events the next pay-per-view and who main events the next couple pay-per-views, there was no reason for Booker to not win this title. He could have held this title until SummerSlam, and yeah, sure, you want to drop back to Triple H, drop it back to Triple H.
Yeah.
Resume business like normal. They did Booker so dirty on this pay-per-view.
They sure did. They sure did. And Hunter would go on to, I don't want to bury the lead, but Hunter goes on to hold on to the big gold belt for quite some time.
Exactly. This isn't the end.
No.
This is not the end.
Not the end of the reign of terror by any stretch, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. But yeah, absolutely ludicrous. Booker didn't win the title. But you want to talk about ludicrous in a good sense, Tomas? Because that's exactly what this next match was. Vince McMahon versus Hulk Hogan, 20 years in the making, and it's a street fight. The added stip is that if Hulk Hogan loses, he must retire. And
now the build to this match is very interesting. Like we saw in No Way Out, Vince screwed Hogan out of the match with The Rock, and the whole basis around this match is Hogan's finally back. He's in the red and yellow. No more NWO. Hulkamania wants to run wild, but Vince McMahon wants to kill Hulkamania.
He really
Vince
does.
Claims
why
he created Hulkamania. Hulk Hogan claims no, the fans created Hulkamania. Yep. And Vince would basically go out to air all of Hogan's dirty laundry, saying, you abandoned me in 1993 when you went to WCW. You abandoned this company. You abandoned everything that you created. And then I forgot. Yeah. I can't believe Vince brought up the steroid scandal.
He did. He did. He brought up the fact that Hulk Hogan had testified against Vince McMahon in a court of law in that infamous steroid scandal that Vince was involved in 1994. Like, this was a match built on a personal animosity. Best friends turned bitter enemies. I mean, this is just pure theater in the wrestling lore. Hulk Hogan was the babyface in this context. And listen, everybody, I have criticized Vince McMahon so much, especially on that SummerSlam podcast that we just did about a week ago, which was a very interesting listen as well. But I would say this is peak Vince McMahon here. Like, it really is.
Me and you have both said some terrible things about Hulk Hogan during this retrospective.
Mm-hmm.
But this may even be peak Hogan in his return.
You think so? You think so?
Since his return in 2002, this is the best we've seen from Hogan.
Yeah, and honestly, this is the best match Vince McMahon has ever put on, too.
Not counting him versus The Rock. I should clarify that.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Peak Hogan is Mania last year against The Rock, and this match is not on that level. This is not a 5-star match by any stretch. This is rather a bowling shoe ugly match, technically. But these two just go to town on each other. Hogan is hitting Vince in the face with a steel chair. It's a Vince McMahon no-holds-barred match. He's got a gig at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Vince is bleeding all over the place. Like, Vince, like Edge, like, if you go back and listen to, there's an interview that Edge has with Inside the Ropes, and he makes a really, really great analogy about Vince in the athletic sense. Like, you wouldn't go out and pick him in a basketball game. You know, he's certainly shredded, like, in terms of the muscular stature, but Vince is not the most athletic guy in the world.
Oh, absolutely not. And Vince is not here to wrestle a 5-star match. He's here to tell a story. And then him and Hogan tell a story. They sure brawl do. They brawl outside, and Hogan grabs a chair to hit Vince with.
Oh,
Vince
I forgot about this.
And poor Spanish announcer Hugo
Savinovich.
Sabinovich takes a chair shot over the head, and then he's bleeding. Poor guy, he took a bullet.
He sure did. He sure did. Took one for the team there, but that's not all, because Vince McMahon hits Hogan. I think he doesn't hit him with the lead pipe yet. He hits him with a monitor, I think, because they're at ringside, and he has Hogan on the announce table. Vince grabs this big, gigantic ladder. He climbs up to the top. He does this to the crowd, he mocks Hulk Hogan, and then Vince jumps off of this damn ladder with an atomic leg drop through the announce table.
When I saw that spot, it reminds me of what Vince McMahon always says to the wrestlers. If I won't do the spot, you don't do the spot.
Yeah.
And look at what Vince is doing. He's jumping off a ladder.
Vince, I've said a lot
I feel like he was late 50s at this point, and he's jumping off a damn ladder.
See, I've called him a lunatic before on one of these pods, even back in 2003 when he was at least more of a genius than he is right now. He was jumping off of ladders. He was putting Hogan through a table. He was taking lead pipe shots. He was certainly concerned for his employees' safety, who are on his payroll. I can at least respect that about him. He was always about safety first. So, as he should be.
Which it's funny. It's funny because when Vince said that, and then after he took the infamous St. Valentine's Day massacre spot when he got knocked off the side of the cage to the announce table, he came backstage and said, no, don't do that spot. That was too much. He knows his limits.
That spot was for sure sicker than this leg drop that he hit.
Yeah.
But then he throws Hogan back into the ring. He gets a lead pipe, and then you get the iconic shot of evil, devilish Vince McMahon, blood all over his face, just peering over the ring apron. And that
scared the shit out of me as a kid.
So,
I think I got my memories wrong. I remember being in the cabin and seeing my dad watching Raw, and I saw that shot of Vince, and I was so scared I ran upstairs, and I was too scared to watch wrestling because Vince looked so evil.
For once, so well directed shot. Excellent cinematography for wrestling. They don't cut from Vince McMahon peering over the apron. They pan back and they show that he has the lead pipe, and it's glorious. It's glorious.
And you want to talk about stuff you weren't expecting in this match. And then all of a sudden, one of the cameramen jumps into the ring wearing a full jumpsuit. He takes off his hat. He throws down the camera. He takes off the jacket. He takes off the pants. And it's Roddy Piper.
May he rest in peace.
Who saw that coming?
No.
I sure didn't.
Was he working for TNA at the time? 2003?
I don't know, actually.
Because I do remember that Roddy Piper cut a vicious shoot promo on Vince Russo sometime in the early stages of TNA. I don't know if it was before this appearance at Mania 19 or after.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah. So, to your point,
the crowd pops so hard.
They popped huge. His music doesn't hit. It's a complete surprise to everybody.
Yeah. And in today's day and age, I was talking about this. You can never do this in 2021.
No.
Piper would have been leaked weeks before the show. But they would have said, oh shit, we saw Piper at Safeco Field today. He's probably going to have a presence in the show. Hell, WWE knows they can't keep it safe. They would just straight up say Piper's going to be at Mania. But in the midst of this feud that Piper has nothing to do with, he shows up.
He shows up.
This is the one part I don't like about his return.
Yeah.
He grabs the lead pipe. He's, screaming at Hogan. He kicks Vince, and he looks like he's about to hit Vince with the pipe. But as Vince is getting up, Piper keeps looking at Hogan.
He telegraphed it.
Is he up yet?
He telegraphed it.
And he gave it away. He gave it away that he was going to hit Hogan with the pipe.
Yeah.
It would have looked a little better if Piper would have helped Hogan up. Oh, come on, get up, let's get him. And then he did it. But he was telegraphing it. He kept looking on the side of his eye is Hogan up yet? Is Hogan up yet?
Logically playing into Piper's history with Hogan, Piper was basically Hulk Hogan's Joker for all intents and purposes. Back in the mid 80s, in the big heyday of territory wrestling, Piper was Hogan's greatest adversary. But Like,
Wait,
so logically,
take into consideration, yeah, who does Piper hate more, Vince or Hogan? Because he hates them both.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. But Piper clocks Hogan with the lead pipe. Vince goes to pin Hogan, and Hulk somehow kicks out, which leads to Vince McMahon beating the shit out of this poor referee for counting to 2. And then he motions towards the back and outruns Sylvain Grenier. A perfect callback to No Way Out. This is like, this
real
is,
quick
again,
before we move on, I just realized with Piper, it's like Piper showed up, hit Hogan with the pipe, refused to elaborate, and then he left.
And then he left.
That's the last he saw Piper in this match. He showed up, he hit Hogan with the pipe, he refused to elaborate, and he left.
I mean, I'm sure he'll elaborate on these next episodes of SmackDown, and we'll talk about his involvement in the next pay-per-view. But Sylvain Grenier is fought off by Hulk Hogan eventually. He tries a fast count, but then Hogan starts hulking up, and he beats the crap out of both Sylvain, and then he beats the crap out of Vince. And Hogan doesn't just hit 1 atomic leg drop, not 2, but he hits 3 all in a row. And that's enough to put his former best friend down for a 3 count. Hulk Hogan wins. He keeps his job. Vince McMahon ends up firing him the next SmackDown in kayfabe, which leads to a shitty part of the storyline. But for what it is, this was peak Vince McMahon. This was pure wrestling theater, in all honesty. 4 stars for me. I really like this. Really
this match is so much fun. And when you take in consideration that it's Hogan versus Vince, this is what this match should be. This match was exactly what it needed to be.
It was pure pandemonium.
It was
15 minutes.
And again, the Piper run-in. Who saw that coming?
No.
Nobody.
And
then to rub salt in the wound, Shane McMahon comes out, and he looks very disappointed in his father.
Yeah.
Hogan takes off his belt. Shane says, "I'm not here to fight you. I swear. Just want to check on my dad."
And
he's shaking his head at Vince. He's shaking his head at Hogan. And Vince flips the iconic, symbolic is out always.
So good.
Flipping the bird at Hogan as he's walking away, just like, you got me, but fuck you still.
And also good on Michael Cole for calling the fact that Hulk Hogan was allowing Shane to enter the ring to check on his father, saying, "Hey, my beef's not with you, kid. My beef's with your old man." And he was allowing
but
Shane.
Hogan had the belt. Yeah,
he did
Hogan
have
had the belt ready if Shane was gonna strike.
And Shane mutually didn't want any trouble. He didn't want any trouble from Hulk. He was just going in to check on his murdered father in the middle of the ring. You know what I mean? So literally physically beaten, but Hulk Hogan walks away triumphant. This night's not over. As exhausting as that match is, we have 2 more to go. 2 more to go.
Yeah, and it gets even better and better. For the 3rd time, we're talking about that 3rd act, The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, hell yeah.
A perfect match with a simple setup.
Mm-hmm.
Rock's never beat Austin at Mania. Austin's back, and Austin took his ball and went home. They looked at each other. They said, "Let's get it on for the 3rd time." That was it.
What a
nothing
video
more,
package, too.
Nothing less. The video package is just Rock and Austin one-upping each other. Stunners, rock bottoms. That's all you need. That's all you need in this match.
That's all you need. I think that video package was the lesser version of the WrestleMania X7 main event that they had, which is one of my personal favorite matches of all time. But it's so simple. It's so simple. And the amazing thing about this match is, the really remarkable thing, Stone Cold Steve Austin was hospitalized in the emergency room 24 hours prior to this match. And he ends up getting discharged. He comes and works this match. And not to bury the lead, but this ends up being his final match. And apparently only a few select people knew about this.
Yep, including The Rock.
Including The Rock.
And I don't think the referee knew. I don't think the commentators knew.
Earl Hebner, I don't think, had any clue that this was Austin's final match. But
nope.
The Rock is absolutely obsessed with winning. Stone Cold always has the upper hand on The Rock. The Rock is getting frustrated at this point. And then Austin throws Rock into the steel stairs. And, I mean, the selling from both guys in this match is absolutely immaculate, especially from The Rock, I would say, because he hit those steel steps hard. And, my God.
And we get my favorite part of the match. Once The Rock starts getting the upper hand, here comes the vest.
He puts the damn vest on.
Stone Cold's vest on. a huge middle finger to Austin and to all the fans, and he wrestles the majority of this match in that vest.
That could not have been comfortable. I mean, judging from how he had to wear the Scorpion King get up for about 4 months of a movie shoot, like, you know, I'm sure he could have wrestled with any sort of costume on at this point, but he puts Austin's iconic leather vest on, and Rock needs a water break. Rock needs a water break. He puts the vest on and he drinks some of the water. And then Austin hits a Luthez press, and I've never seen more punches being thrown from Austin out of the Luthez press. So many raining down on the Rock. But then Stone Cold, this is what you were referring to. This is the point where Austin hits a rock bottom. The Rock is fixing his vest as he's selling, which is
he refuses to take this damn vest off.
It's so hilarious. The vest is falling off, and the Rock is like, he's woozy, and then he's like,
yes.
If that doesn't scream Hollywood Rock to you, I don't know what does. I don't know what does, ladies and gentlemen. But then the Rock does hit a rock cold stunner. Get it? Get it? Not a stone, but a rock.
I see what you did there.
Yep. There you go. There you go. Yeah, laying the smackdown. Stone Cold hits his stunner, and the Rock has his amazing sell out of a Stone Cold stunner that we've all grown
damn near flopped out of that ring.
Yep, and that's like any match you see the Rock and Austin in together, the Rock always sells the stunner like that. It is so consistent. The Rock always does like a backwards gymnastics tumble. His feet hit the ropes, and it's glorious.
And this ending sequence is just so clean. It's so fluent. And, you know, Rock going for the people's elbow, Austin countering, going for the stunner. Yeah. Rock goes for the spine buster. He immediately pops up, throws off the elbow pad, goes for the elbow drop. Oh my God. So
he throws off the vest, which was ripping at the seams. And he's like, oh, you know what? Damn it. I can't wear this anymore. I feel like he would have finished the match with that vest on.
Yeah.
If it wasn't
near
falling
this
apart.
End, Rock hits the rock bottom, and this is when you can tell Austin's hurt. Because he takes the rock bottom, and Austin immediately clutches his neck. Yeah. Rock goes for the pin. He kicks out. Rock goes for a second rock bottom. And I don't know what it was about the ring at this show, but it felt extra crunchy. Like every time he hit a rock bottom, I felt that shit in my neck.
Yeah.
And Austin's down. Rock goes for a pin. Austin kicks out. And then finally, Rock gets him up. He holds him in the rock bottom. He looks around. He delivers one more rock bottom. And The Rock has done it. The Rock has defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania.
Nail in the coffin right there. And The Rock pins Austin clean in the middle. Rock has finally achieved his destiny, as he so calls it, beating Stone Cold.
And in my opinion, Rock broke kayfabe after the match. You see him, he gets up, he looks over at Austin, he shoved Earl Hebner off of him, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
And then everybody knows Rock basically bent over and he whispered to Austin's ear, "That was amazing. I love you." You know, absolutely, what a moment between Rock and Austin there. Rock poses, and you can tell Rock just wants to get the hell out of there because he wants to give the ring to Austin.
Yeah, he does. And The Rock, I think he thanked Austin somewhere in that little spiel. Yeah. Like you clearly see The Rock bend over Austin after the pinfall. And Rock, you know, he celebrates, he goes and hugs his family who is sitting at ringside, and then he's basically out of there. And Austin basically gives the final salute. He has the beer to the crowd, and this would be his final match. This would be his final match in the ring.
Yep, a lot of people did not know because Austin himself didn't know. He came back to WWE. I think he signed like a 2 or 3 year deal, and he had every intention on continuing to wrestle. Yeah. But when he came back, he immediately realized that the neck was catching up with him.
It was.
And when he was gonna get in that ring with The Rock, and after what happened, after him getting hospitalized, he realized, no, my body's not going to physically let me anymore.
Spinal stenosis, man. Spinal stenosis isn't anything to mess with. Austin was, just to put this in perspective, Stone Cold Steve Austin was dropped on his head with a botched tombstone pile driver in the summer of '97, and he was never the same since. He was about to become the WWF champion at the next Mania, which he does. Miraculously, he does. He heals his neck.
He had to change his whole style.
He had to change everything. He had to change everything, and he had to revamp.
Thankfully, this would not be the end of Stone Cold Steve Austin. He would still be on Monday Night Raw as a prominent role, just not as an active wrestler.
Co-general manager Austin. Co-general manager.
This is where we would see the final evolution of Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's not a wrestler anymore. He's just an ass kicker. Kicker. He is an ass kicker. This is where we would see him.
I think we're
show up.
I think we're a year late on the ass kisser gimmick, Austin, when he's like playing songs for Vince McMahon backstage.
But this is
where down, lady, sing your song. What?
But Austin would kind of evolve into this different role of he can still open up a can of whoop ass.
Oh yeah,
because he's not going to be in sanctioned matches anymore. No. And Austin said after post wrestler Austin was actually his favorite. He said he would go out there every night on Raw and he would just have fun with the crowd for like 20 minutes. Yeah. He would drink beer. Whoever was in the ring would receive like 5 Stone Cold Stunners. He said that the majority of his best memories after he stopped wrestling, people don't even see them because they weren't on TV. He would do all this stuff post Raw.
It would be just dark segments, but yeah, I gotta thank Stone Cold for all the memories of growing up.
Oh yeah,
he had so many incredible matches, including his first 2 matches with The Rock and this one. I would say, like, speaking of, in regards to this match between Rock and Austin, it's a very good match. I gave it 3 3/4. It's probably the weakest of their Mania trilogy, if I were to really think about it. But that's not to say that this match is bad whatsoever. But there was no way that it was going to live up to the hype of the match from 2 years prior to this for the WWF Championship. That's one of my favorite matches of all time, where Austin turns heel.
Oh yeah,
fantastic. But I mean, even their match at Mania 15 was fun chaos in the main event of that show. But yeah, Austin gets a super nice ovation, rides off into the sunset, and yeah, very, very fun send-off for Austin in the ring, at least. But believe it or not, Austin's retirement is not the end of this show, because for the WWE Championship, Kurt Angle is defending against 2003 Royal Rumble winner Brock Lesnar. Speaking of broken necks, Kurt Angle, I don't even know how he got through all of this road to WrestleMania, because he broke his neck at No Way Out. And he somehow made it through all the build. They were going to put the title on Brock like a couple of weeks before WrestleMania, but Kurt was adamant that he wrestles his match.
I was going to ask. I remember the buildup, and now I'm wondering, why were they having the title match on SmackDown? 27-year-old me would have fucking raged if they did that today. Yeah. It makes a little more sense now, but I remember that build, and I remember the swap with Kurt's brother. The one and only time we saw Kurt's brother in WWE.
No, it wasn't the only time. It was, no, they had done it. So Survivor Series 2000, Kurt Angle's first title win and his first ever title defense was against The Undertaker. And Kurt, at one point in that match, went under the ring. Undertaker pulls a body double out from under the ring, hits him with the last ride, and then he goes to pin him. But then Earl Hebner sees that it's Kurt's brother in Kurt's attire, and then Kurt sneaks up behind Taker, rolls him up, and retains the title. They had done something like that before.
I did not know that, honestly. I thought this was the only time Kurt's brother made an appearance in WWE.
Well, no, I only knew that because I had watched I had Survivor Series 2000 on VHS also. I was a collector, so I wanted to catch up on everything. And that was one memory that I vividly had, and I would just remember it being so cool. And I remember thinking Kurt Angle was just the trickiest and slimiest little bastard back then for doing that. And then when I see him do the same thing to Brock Lesnar in the build up to WrestleMania, like, Brock knows this trick. Like, he goes to pin Eric Angle, and like he is like, and then Michael Cole's like, wait, cover him, it's for the title. And then
nope. Immediate body Angle swap with the surprise small package.
It was so
great build up.
So
great. The fun and games are all over. This is the culmination of Lesnar's odyssey back to the WWE Championship. Him losing it in November. Angle has been champion since December. Here we go. And you know what? This was a WrestleMania main event in all the right sense.
It really was. And keep in mind, this was Brock Lesnar's WrestleMania debut in the main event.
And he's main evented for the championship.
Yep, which is insane.
I'm also going to go on a limb and say now, this is the most wrestling we're ever going to get out of Brock Lesnar.
This was my match of the night, if I'm being honest.
Let me tell you, it all goes down from here.
I mean, he does have a couple of shining spots throughout 2003, though. But
nothing compared to this.
No, this was, I think, his best match of 2003 for sure. Brock's ribs are heavily taped after all these attacks, and one stipulation is Stephanie establishes, she lays down the law. If Kurt has anybody interfere on his behalf, he gets disqualified or counted out. He immediately loses the WWE Championship.
Which I totally forgot about that. I didn't even realize it was one of those cases.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The match was so good, that factor never played in. Not once.
Yeah. A couple things I got to mention before we actually get into the work in this match. It's about the commentators. Poor Michael Cole. I hope he drank so much tea and honey after this show, because his voice was absolutely gone. Absolutely gone.
For his voice being lost at the end of pay-per-views.
Absolutely no voice left whatsoever for Michael Cole. Taz, you texted me this as you were watching this match, and I did overhear Taz call Brock the Vanilla Gorilla.
I totally forgot they used to call him that. I'm gonna start calling him that now.
Yeah, Brock Vanilla Gorilla Lesnar. Like, you know, stay tuned for whoever announces Brock to the ring at Crown Jewel. Please call him Vanilla Gorilla.
The Vanilla Gorilla Brock Lesnar versus suffering succotash Roman Reigns.
Oh my God, no. But anyway, I mean, this is just some fantastic amateur wrestling. Both these guys are trying to one-up each other. For a guy with a broken neck like Kurt Angle, and for a guy who had, like, Brock Lesnar had 60 pounds on him easily. And for Kurt to be able to suplex him like he was throughout the entirety of this match, German suplexing him, Brock is doing like backflips out of the German suplex and no selling it. It's awesome. It is so awesome.
Yeah, it's very impressive for a guy with the broken neck. Oh, I have a piece of advice though. Don't wrestle with the broken neck. No, don't do that. This was peak stubborn Kurt Angle. Peak stubborn. Oh, yeah. Especially as we go into the summer of 2003. You'll notice the stubbornness as we continue talking about Kurt Angle. But Brock is hitting some suplexes of his own. There's a beautiful reversal out of the F5 into the ankle lock. Angle slam into a weird cradle. And then Brock hits an F5. And then Kurt Angle is the first person to ever kick out of the F5. Yeah. Michael Cole sells how huge of a deal this is, which I think is absolutely brilliant commentary from Michael Cole. I know he gets a lot of shit, but the fact that he was able to point that out the first time someone ever kicked out of an F5, remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. But I've kind of got a bone to pick with you, Tomas. You know what that is? Okay.
Kurt locks in a grapevine ankle lock, and I think you said at one point, you were like, anytime someone locks in a grapevine ankle lock, that's it. I forgot that Brock like army crawled to the ropes while he was grapevine, and I'm like,
which is pretty damn impressive, you have to say.
Yeah.
And if I'm making that statement and Lesnar's able to do that, that says a lot. My bone to pick with this match is that Angle had an ankle lock in, and then he changed it into a half crab. Why would you change it into a half crab when the ankle lock has won you so many matches?
So many matches. Motherfucking Boston Crab. Yeah, but it's at this
instead
point,
of an ankle lock, half crab.
Hey, the single leg motherfucking Boston Crab is lethal. You saw how lethal Jazz had it in. But this is actually the point in the match that starts to get really uncomfortable, honestly, because Brock pushes Kurt Angle off of the ankle lock, and the way Kurt lands, you immediately know that he's hurt. You immediately know that Kurt's hurt.
Yeah.
He's grabbing the back of his head. He further aggravated that fracture in his vertebra, and he ended up taking a few months off.
So, in an effort, I think Lesnar didn't want Angle to feel like alone. So in an effort to join Kurt Angle in the Broken Neck Club, he climbs to the top rope.
Yeah.
And he thinks, me, Brock Lesnar, we can fly. And does a fucking shooting star press.
He does.
He misses completely. He lands on his head.
Yes, he does land on his head. And this is perhaps the most infamous moment throughout this entire WrestleMania, Tomas. So just to
And to make it worse, in WWE's signature going on, that little signature opening package, they put the shooting star press in there. Apparently, Lesnar used to use the shooting star.
He did.
But he went for it here, and he missed all of it.
He did, but here's the thing. Here's the thing about that.
All of it.
Here's the thing about that shooting star press, though. So there are clips of Brock Lesnar successfully hitting the shooting star press when he was in OVW working dark matches before he was called up to the main roster. And he was hitting it pretty soundly. And the whole idea was, in concept, on paper, this is perfect because Brock is hitting a second F5 on Kurt, but he's not going for the cover. He knows the F5 is not going to work. So he decides to dig deep into his arsenal and pull out something he hasn't used in so long in the main event of WrestleMania, in his Mania debut, mind you. May I remind you that Brock is in his rookie year.
But if he did it, if he knew he couldn't do it.
Well, I mean, he knew he could do it. He knew he could do it, but here's the problem. Here's the problem, though, Tomas. So, I think Brock Lesnar, he's not known for being a people person.
Me, Brock. Brock can fly.
God damn it. But I think, for all intents and purposes, I think...
Hey, Paul, watch this.
Oh, my God. Hey, Paul. Me, Brock Lesnar. Here comes the pain. God built me strong. Forget to give me brain. You know, that's
the next pay-per-view.
That is the next pay-per-view. But I think, again, on paper, this seems like a good concept. But here's the problem. Yes, to your point, Brock Lesnar is not a high flyer. For all intents and purposes, he should not be doing a shooting star press at this point. But, I mean, I got to give him credit for trying. But the big problem here is that Kurt fucking Angle was like 3/4 of the way across the ring. Nowhere close to Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar still goes for it. His nerves get to him. And he sticks the flip, but he lands right on his fucking head. And the poor bastard almost kills himself doing it. His poor nerves almost got to him.
He did concuss himself.
Yeah.
Because after the shooting star press, he hits Angle with the F5 and he wins the match and he wins the WWE Championship. When the ref is giving him the championship, Lesnar doesn't know where the fuck he is.
He forgets, like, he thinks he's all the way over in Saskatchewan instead of Seattle. Yeah. But, yeah, so to your point, Brock does hit a third F5. That was not meant to be the planned finish. I do think the planned finish was going to be that shooting star press and him hitting Kurt and pinning him with it.
Fucked it up. All jokes aside, this was a really good match. This was a fantastic match.
4 3/4. 4 3/4 for me. Yeah, that might be a little bit generous, but let me tell you something, Tomas. We joke about that shooting star press. So, like, I think we spent the last 10 minutes just laughing at the complete, like, lunacy of it. But here's the thing. If Brock actually did connect with the shooting star press and they went through with that planned finish, Brock pinning him off of the shooting star press, this match gets 5 stars.
Oh,
Easy.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Easy.
That was it's infamous. It's almost as infamous as the Shockmaster. It just goes down in history as, what the fuck were you thinking?
It's such an infamous moment. You know,
and I remember it too. And 9-year-old me was fucking terrified.
I remembered it like it was yesterday. Little 7-year-old Zack was sitting there in awe throughout his first WrestleMania, watching it live. I legit thought Brock Lesnar was dead. I thought he was dead. You know, I was sitting there like, oh no, he just killed himself. But you know, because Brock is not human, he gets up and then he hits the F5 and wins the WWE.
So get this. So the main event of WrestleMania, the champion has a broken neck and the challenger now has a concussion. Swap places. Now the champion's concussed. The challenger has a broken neck. Mm-hmm. Angle would take some time after this match. 1 month. He took 1 month off when he should have taken a year.
No, he took like.
I think he only took like. I think he took like 2 months off, maybe 2.
No,
he was
no
not
more
gone
than 3.
For long.
No more than 3. We're not talking about Kurt Angle again.
He should have taken 2 years off.
Yeah, we're not talking about Kurt Angle again until Vengeance, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, Kurt completely rushed his return. He should have spent a lot more time healing up, making sure his neck was totally healthy and not taking all those painkillers.
did get concussed, but he was able to come back in a couple weeks and, get into the next feud for Backlash with his new reign as babyface WWE champion.
Babyface WWE champion. Here comes the pain.
And
awesome.
We're going to jump the gun now. That babyface run does not last long.
No, it does not. No, it does not, because Kurt Angle does get a hero's welcome eventually after going out to have neck surgery. And
going into the summer, and it's going to be a couple of months, so we can talk about this now. They're actually going to swap places.
They sure are.
So, we'll talk about Thenax in the next few months.
Folks, WrestleMania 19, what more can be said about it that hasn't already been said? This is an infamous WrestleMania for the main event, and perhaps for the street fight. Austin's retirement over here. This is an instant classic WrestleMania, 9.5 for me. I mean, just across the board, every single match had purpose, I think. Except for, all the Miller Lite catfight girl shit, which was just too much of it. But I mean, there are a few instant classic Mania matches on here that are definitely worth seeking out by themselves. But this whole show was peak Ruthless Aggression WrestleMania for me.
Oh, yeah, this is an excellent WrestleMania. It's the first WrestleMania I saw live. And again, between Michaels, Jericho, Hogan, McMahon, Rock and Austin, Lesnar and Angle, this is again, one of my fondest memories watching WrestleMania, and it just gets better from here. And speaking of Backlash, I actually do order that pay-per-view live, so I will share a couple of interesting memories with that one too.
Should be fun talking about Backlash 2003. Of course, we've got All Out to talk about next weekend. Can't wait to discuss CM Punk's return match with you all. We got Extreme Rules coming up at the end of the month of September. Lots of wrestling content for you guys to look forward to. So if you guys want to keep up with all of this, really helps get the content out there. Hit that subscribe button. This channel is on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I think we can get there by the end of the year, guys. So let's see. Yeah. Let's try and get there. I really do appreciate your guys' support so far. Hit that thumbs up button as well. It really helps more and more people see this stuff. Tomas, you're the best. You know that.
You're the best, man.
All right. Back talk commence. I'll see you guys next time.